Let's not go and get married again and then the same thing continue to happen. It's not going to change. You're going to break up again. Let's reflect, let's release it, and let's begin anew. How long will it take before I begin to feel normal again? I get asked this question several times during my coaching sessions from individuals that are going through a divorce and those that have even completed the process. In this episode, we're going to talk about real life timelines for how long it's actually going to take for you to heal after that breakup and divorce, and what steps you need to take to get you to the point where you begin to feel normal again and you can begin that next chapter of your life. Now, some people say it took them 6 months to begin to feel confident again, feel like themselves again. Other people say it took them 6 years. Me personally, it took me about 2 years before I actually began to feel like Kat again and also have a newfound confidence and a newfound love for myself. So long story short, for everyone, it is different. But the good thing is, if you get with a relationship coach, a therapist, if you do the work and don't ignore what you're feeling inside and actually deal with the real, I promise you it will happen sooner for you than later, and you will feel a lot more confident, you will value yourself more, and you will feel worthy of the new love that is to come in your life. The truth is, there's no one real timeline. I can't say, oh, when you get a divorce, 2 months later, 2 years later, you're going to feel like new, like it never even happened. It depends on several factors within your life. How long have you been married? Do you have children together? How connected are you with his or her family? All of these things play a role in how quickly you are going to heal. You have to do the work. You cannot ignore your emotions. You have to think both emotionally and logically at the same time. So if you always hung out with his family or her family, there are gonna be situations and things that hit you that cause you to remember the good times as well as the bad. There's no way to get over on that. Especially for me, we had children together. So you're also dealing with the fact that your children have to now deal with that emotional connection, that emotional tie of knowing that one of their parents is not going to be in the same house under the same roof with them. They're also going to need to understand that you may not be spending holidays together. You may not be spending birthdays together. And it is a little rough, just being honest, having to explain that to your children, depending on the age, because they are not always going to understand, one, why things can't be how they were, and number two, why is daddy not here as often as he used to be? You also need to consider the support system that you have. Is your family, are your friends and loved ones, are your children supporting you during this big step of your life? This is one of the most emotional decisions that you were ever going to make. Let's be honest, you were married to this person. You dated this person for several years, several months, however long it was. There were definitely emotional ties that you will now have to sever. And I want to say something else. If you're separating and you're really looking to separate, no hanky-panky. That's what I'm going to say to be able to get it done. You cannot be doing that. Emotional ties coincide when you're doing that. So if you're really done, then be done. Don't be double dipping. Don't be having your cake and eating it too. It does not work like that. If you're going to separate and break up, then really separate and break up. Your readiness to heal actually depends on you. Are you still going to hold on to the past, or are you looking forward to the future? If you're still holding on to the past, I will be honest with you, it may be worth you having a serious conversation with your significant other and let's wonder, can we go to counseling? Can we get with a relationship coach? Can we get with a therapist, with a pastor? Can we work this out? I never will advocate for anyone to get a divorce unless it's absolutely necessary and unless you cannot come to an understanding and an agreement. It does take two people to want the situation to work out. So if the other person is not willing and they're checked out, then yes, let's move on, because I don't want you to waste time and waste your heart and your feelings and your love on someone that does not want you. So if you're to the point where you've exhausted all options and you are ready to heal, then by all means, let's move forward. But you need to take a real moment and assess your feelings and see if this is truly what it is you want. Don't use divorce as a defense mechanism or a punishment for your person. It is not to be taken lightly. This is a real decision that will affect everyone in your life, not just the person that you're married to, everyone. Let's go through the common phases of healing. You've got the shock and surprise. That normally is just the fact that you're actually going through this process, because some people talk about it, but then when it's actually happening, it hits you about maybe 2 to 3 that you really signed the divorce papers. That's the thing. Or you actually sat down in front of a judge or with an attorney and you can't believe that this is truly happening. For me, it took about a week or so before it actually clicked for me that, oh, this is for real. Next, you're gonna go through grief and anger. This may take a little bit longer for some people because there's also heartbreak that goes along with the grief and the anger. Some divorces and breakups are mutual and you both understand why it is you couldn't make it work, but some of them you will get blindsided. At that point, if you're dealing with a lot of grief and a lot of anger and you're going through a state of depression and you're not feeling like yourself, please, please, please do not ignore that feeling. Go see a therapist, a pastor, a relationship coach. Speak to someone. Do not go through that by yourself. You're next going to go through reflection and release. I like to call this my grace moment, because not only are you going to reflect on what that person did wrong, but I also want you to reflect on what it is that you did wrong and understand what it is that you need to change or adjust about your life. Because if you live long enough and you desire it, you will meet someone new. And I don't want you to be making the same mistake over and over again. That is insanity. Let's not do that. Let's not go and get married again and then the same thing continue to happen. It's not going to change. You're going to break up again. Let's reflect, let's release it, and let's begin anew. You're going to then rebuild your identity, and then we're going to move forward. Me personally, I'm not the same Kat, the safe space coach, that I was then. In fact, I wasn't even a safe space coach at all. I was Kat, the broker, or Kat, the real estate agent, Kat, the banker. I was so many things. I am not the woman that you see before me like then that I am now. She is completely different. So you're going to go through so many situations and you're going to learn a new person. You're going to find a new strength within yourself that you did not even know existed. And I want you to embrace that person, that new person, because that is the new you, that is the true you, and that is going to be the best you, because you have already evaluated the mistakes that you made, and I don't expect you to make the same mistake twice. Now, in going through these phases, the timeline is honestly up to you. If you do the work, that's when you will see improvement. But if you're just going through, this is a cycle, this is a grieving cycle. If you're just going to continue to go through the motions, you are never going to truly heal. You're going to bring that trauma to the next relationship and the next relationship and the next relationship. And that is not going to be healthy for you and the partner. You need to do the actual work. It could take you 2 weeks, it could take you 2 years, it could take you 5 years. It is entirely up to you. And please, 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 do not rush this process. Take the time to actually work on yourself and let the process do the work. You will be better for it. I want to talk about some things that slow down the healing process. I mentioned it earlier. If you're still dibbling and dabbling with your ex, you're going to slow down the process. If you're not living in reality and you still think that there's a chance of hope and there really isn't, you are going to slow down the process. Please, please, please do not waste your time. Let's live in reality right now. If it's over, then allow it to be over. Allow yourself to heal. Don't trick yourself and make yourself seem like, oh, there's a chance, there's this, there's that. If I work hard enough, maybe he or she will actually see me. They are done with you. That is it. That's it. Be with someone that actually wants to be with you. Don't chase and all this other stuff after someone that has no interest in you. If someone shows you who they are, in the words of Maya Angelou, believe them. I want to take a moment to also speak on not isolating yourself from your friends and your family. I have been guilty of this. I had to go through therapy to get over that phase in my life. I was beating myself up emotionally so hard. I was being so hard on myself, and I am pleading with you to show yourself grace and give yourself grace and know that you are not the only one who has or will go through a breakup and or a divorce. You are not the only one. There are people that are not going to understand what's going on, and you're going to be so tired of explaining what happened and also defending yourself, because there are two sides to every story, right? But somebody else is telling their story and here you are telling yours. But please do not isolate yourself. Talk it out with someone. If your friends and family don't understand, I'm Kat, I'm the Safe Space Coach. Reach out to me, let's do a session together. Everything that we talk about is confidential, or reach out to a therapist. Just reach out to someone. Do not go through this process alone, because it is exhausting and you're going to need the support to get through the next phase of your life. For me, that's what helps speed the process along. So I do highly recommend that you do that. Don't go through this process by yourself. I also recommend, self-care routines. Go ahead and develop those. That will help you speed the process along. Having boundaries for yourself, learning how to say no, that will speed the process along. You have to set standards for yourself now. A lot of the reasons that we are getting taken advantage of in certain relationships is because we are not setting standards for ourselves, and we are just settling and accepting any and everything. And guess what? If you set standards for yourself now, then when it comes time for you to have that real love, the next love, then you will know what it is you're willing to accept and what it is you're just not going to stand for. Lastly, and most importantly for me, this episode right here, this channel is called what? thrive with grace. I want you to forgive yourself, and I want you to release this. That is what I want you to do. And I want you to have faith that the next chapter will be your best chapter. Don't underestimate the power of forgiveness. I talk about that in one of my other episodes, and it is so powerful. I'm not just talking about forgiving yourself, I'm talking about forgiving that individual that did you wrong. Don't allow them to hinder your progress. That could, in fact, slow up the healing. When you can be in the same room with that individual and not feel that fire and rage and see red, sweetheart, you're doing something, and now you're talking, like my mama says. Now you're doing some talking, because you have found true joy within yourself. And dear, I'm here to tell you, the joy that comes after you're fully healed and you've given it over to God, no man can take it away from you. You should not allow a man, and when I say a man, I mean male or female, but anyone, to have that much power over your life that when you hear the mention of their name, it makes you upset. That is a no-no. Don't allow anyone to have that kind of power over you. Show yourself some grace, forgive yourself, and let's move forward and heal. So I hope that this episode was a blessing for you. If you're new to my channel and you love this video, please make sure to share it with a friend or loved one that's going through a breakup or divorce. And if you or that person needs to have a session, be sure to click the link in my bio. Let's schedule a one-on-one and let's get your healing process started. Until next time, peace out.